Okay, here's the latest because there's a lot of different angles to this PGA LIV merger. One of them's got to do with the situation involving the players. Another's got to do with the employees. Another's got to do with the creative stuff that they want to do. Another's got to do with the leadership. Let's start, first of all, with Jay Monahan. He's the guy that set this thing in motion by agreeing to negotiate with LIV after LIV made the first contact. Jay Monahan met with the staffers, everybody that works at the PGA headquarters in Ponte Vedra, Florida, which is a huge number of employees. And he indicated to them, because he continues to take hits about why would you do this, blood money, sports washing, etc.
Yeah.
He told their employees they had to commit $50 million in legal fees if this thing went to antitrust, and it would go for years. He said it would drain our coffers. We might cease to exist as the PGA Tour because of the money drain. And he said those guys in Saudi Arabia have $652 billion in their public fund. It would not bother them. He said it might end our tour. That's why we decided to do it. And we did it at the right point in time because LIV was hemorrhaging money. Suddenly there were calls, what are you doing with other investments, et cetera, et cetera. So they came to a common ground that I think is going to be good for golf, and I think it's been good for the fans. But to get from point A to point B is really nasty. There's an awful lot of crossfire out there. The second unique angle to the story, and we'd mentioned his name last week, Jimmy Dunn, who's a key executive in the PGA, was the point man in negotiations. And people are saying, you sold out. Well, Jimmy Dunn went and did this at the behest of Monahan because Jimmy Dunn was aware of the financial trauma the road would be traveled if the PGA continued to try to fight this in court. Even if they won, it'd take forever. It might kill the sport. Jimmy Dunn is a mega banker, deal maker, big guy on Wall Street. Nobody knew about the fact he went to Saudi Arabia to meet with those people. 65 of his investment people died in the Twin Towers.
Wow.
The day of the catastrophe. And yet he set his personal angst aside on behalf of the PGA, and he went and did this negotiations over a 4-week window. It's kind of really, really unique. We had talked extensively last week about player loyalty. The guys that stayed behind and refused to take the money, starting with Rory McIlroy to Tiger Woods and everybody else. How are they going to be compensated? Because are you going to let these guys who damaged us back in and treat them as equals and friends? Well, Monahan just announced that the new business arm of the PGA and LIV, with a $3 billion investment they're going to get from LIV, that each of the guys who stayed behind will become an equity partner for take-in profits. They'll get bonus money from the profits in the business entity that PGA and LIV are going to use as they market the sport globally. So that's how they're going to take care of the Rory McIlroys and the Xander Schauffele's, et cetera. They are going to get bonus money. And the guys who come back, if they come back, will not be allowed to participate in the bonus program. So that's how they're going to take care of the loyalty guys. The guys who left, your name is Brooks Koepka, your name is DeChambeau, your name is Phil Mickelson, DJ, Dustin Johnson. You'll have to reapply, and either you will pay an entrance fee to get back into the PGA, or you will be fined to get back into the PGA because you violated your tour card because you left. You left without the freedom to leave. And by the way, you tampered with our players after you left because you came back and you tried to get other guys to jump and go. So it's fascinating what's happened in about a 4 or 5 day span since the story first broke last Thursday when we were on the air.
Yeah, this is incredible news. I mean, because it makes sense to me that, you got to kind of make good with the guys that didn't leave, and there might need to be some penalties for the LIV guys to come back. I get that. But you know what? Once we get over this and the league starts rolling again, the players, all of them, from the LIV, PGA, all of them are going to be better off. There's going to be more prize money, bigger tournaments, more money going around. In the end, they're going to be fine. But it's just interesting to me where business interests and morality clash. and what do you prioritize? And sometimes you can take the high ground, the holier than thou, and say, I'm going to, take the moral cause. But sometimes if that damages you financially, it makes you kind of wonder, what is the moral cause?
Big issue. And it's not solved yet because there's a lot of stuff that has to happen. And I'm sure there'll be more input from the McElroys of the world because they were ignored. They were totally bypassed, just like Greg Norman was totally bypassed when this negotiation was going on. So we've not heard the end of it. By the way, sidebar story, Phil Mickelson got sued today. Phil Mickelson, as part of the team concept that they play in LIV, you have 4-man teams. Well, his team was nicknamed the High Flyers. And they had a logo and they marketed the gear. I don't know if anybody bought it, but they were the High Flyers. Trademark infringement. South American Sports Goods Company has used that High Flyers logo for 20 years to sell skateboard gear.
Really?
Skateboard equipment.
Wow.
So they've filed a violation, trademark violation against Phil Mickelson for doing this. Normally you would think, John, you and I are forming a business. We're going to come up with a logo and a name, but you have to check and make sure it's not trademarked somewhere else.
Yeah, that's due diligence.
Did not happen.
Well, I was expecting it was going to be a conflict with Dayton. What aren't they the Flyers as well?
Yeah.
But what a dumb move that turned out to be.
So Phil Mickelson's got more problems than just not making the cut. Last topic.